So this is going to be my start to YouTube, I guess, for kind of just breaking down um, cichlid genetics into hybrid projects. I got into this originally because of a close friend of mine back in 2017. He was really into flower horns. I thought they were some of the most disgusting fish alive. I still don't really work with them. I've had a couple throughout the years now at this point. But when I first get into them with him, I'm a big person on I want to know what's all going into that. So I spent the last 2017, 2025, almost last 8 years studying what each base species does into a crosses. So I've built this website, which I've organized it between. I don't like the fact that I'm saying so much, but I'm sure I'll get better at it. Uh, um, I organized it between species. Also, if this cat's gonna be around, this is Maisie. She's gonna hop up on the thing, and she's probably gonna be in the video more than once. So, um, crap. Basically, I've organized this by species families. Now, they're not perfect. Parachromis, I have Jaguar dovii, red tiger moda, Freddy, Lucellii, which I know Lucellii is now Fredichromis, and Fredichromis is now multifaceta or whatever, but I personally don't like that. I think it's going to cause more confusion. Herichthys, I know I have Depi in there and a couple other stuff that I haven't really updated on the website. And Veja, I know I have more, and I think I added some stuff that's technically not Veja, but I put it underneath Veja because it kind of falls underneath that same category. But basically, what I wanted to do is kind of make some videos on breaking down how they work. So, like for example, I would like to make a video on Jaguars. So I'd go to Parachromis, I'd go to Jaguars. I have made this site alphabetically. So like here's B for blood parrot, C for Carpentis, and then after that's convict, C for Cuban, D for Dovii, Red Dovii, Carpentis. So basically, I've broken this down, and the biggest, obviously, common factor is this is the Jaguar section of the website. So what is the benefit to me of having done that? Is the benefit is every single one of these crosses is basically 50% Jaguar. I think there might be one or two that's 25%. But the bonus to that is that you get to see what they do. So like I'm trying to plan out a project. I really like Jaguar. I want to bring it in for shape. I want to bring it in for color. I want to bring color to it or something like that. That's what this is going to be for, is kind of breaking down how that is. I really like how the Veja Jaguar's tail looks, but if you look at the main Jaguar itself, right, if you look at Jaguar cichlid, you can see that the Jaguar cichlid already has that pearl structure I like, right? So if I'm wanting a long-term hybrid and I want this exact pearl structure, I'm probably going to use Jaguar. I've already got a couple projects like my yokai that I got off you. I'm going to end up taking it down a different route, and I do want Jaguar's fin structures in there because I think they bring in a really nice thing that other species can't. But if you look at the Jaguar sin, you can see that in there. And somebody might try to debate, oh, it's coming from the Veja sin. So let's go look at the sin. What does the sin bring to the table? Sin obviously doesn't have any of that pearl structure. I mean, it might have a little bit if you really look at it, but it's nowhere near as strong as the Jaguar, right? So it's there, tiny little dots, and then you see the Jaguar, and then you could see the hybrid, right? And basically, what I want to do with this is I want to go down species by species and be like, well, this is how this interacts with this. Obviously, if we're looking at Veja sin to Jaguar, you're like, wow, that's really pearly. The colors pop through on this one. The colors didn't pop through on this one. Jaguar's obviously influencing face. The bald spot came in by Jaguar. But if you go up here and you're like, wow, this blood parrot, well, that one's half devil. The blood parrot up here, all the way at the top, has tons of pearls. But it's different, it's different. Blood parrots are Veja and Midas, Medevil, Devil, whatever. But you can see that it inherited the jaguar thing, but its face is being more amph. And by amph, I just mean the family that has Midas, Red Devil, and all of that in there. And over time, you'll get a better look for it. Like, where is it? We're in D, right there. And this is the amph look. You've got the heavier face. Here's a pretty good example. So here's the Midas Jaguar, right? And it's not as clean as the Veha, but it still has some purling. It has some characteristics that are good. The issue with using AMP is you can see that base coloration. So top one's fader, bottom one's not fader. Obviously, from two different spawns, so there's probably some variation within there. Top one's fader. People love fader. Like, oh my god, orange fish, red fish. It's just fader's garbage. Fader hides terrible fish. Fader is because this right here is what this fish looks like without fader. This fish would be poop brown, poop. What is that? Poop green. Not my favorite. So I just want to basically make the YouTube into breaking down how does Jaguar work. Like, what can you expect when you breed a Jaguar to any of your project? What are you wanting to pull from Jaguar? How should you breed or go about that? What causes infertility issues? What, I want to do the long term of that. I feel like a species breakdown needs to happen of each species and kind of how to use that into your project. Because I mean, everything has a good use as long as you know how to use it. Even AMP. Like, I'm not in the next couple of videos you'll probably see me bash AMP in basically every forum. I'm not a fan of it, honestly. I'm not going to hide it. AMP to Veha causes infertility issues. A lot of AMP will actually cause pearl loss, worse color, and a beak to form. Now, if you're working with just straight AMP and straight other stuff, it's not the worst. It's just not the best either. Like, you're not getting the color that you would actually want. And that's just going to take time to kind of break down and explain. But for like the most part, I'm basically just wanting to push my website a little bit more, push a little bit more ideas. Another thing I'm probably wanting to do with this YouTube channel is I want to go and do hybrids. Like, I would love if you guys sent me some hybrid photos. You're like, I like this, but I don't know how to get to it. So, like, my friend sent me a picture of a F1 Conf the other day. It was a really pink. Actually, I'll show you a picture. I don't have a picture of it on me right now, but it was really pink, almost pearlless. It had a nice round shape to it. He liked like longer but rounded shape, and I was like, now obviously F1 Confas, Veha to Flowerhorn, infertile males, etc., etc., etc. And he's like, I want to try to recreate this, but I know that because it's also a fader, because it was pink, all the way pink, it was just a pink fader. He's like, I know it's going to be inconsistent and I'm not going to be able to likely recreate. So what I would like to do is have you guys send me photos, be like, hey, I'd like to recreate this. How would I go about that? What steps would I take? And so, like, he sent me the F1 Confa. I said you should do Jack Dempsey to Sin, because if you come down here, this is basically the exact shape that he had. Now, obviously, the Sin is looking, the Jack Dempsey is looking color receptive to the Sin. This also has more pearls than his initially did, so that's a bonus. And then he's like, well, how do you get the pink color? That's the fun part, is that you could also do pink Jack Dempsey. I don't know where the heck I'm typing right now. Here we go. Pink Jack Dempsey to... Okay, we're going to open this image up. Pink Jack Dempsey to a Sin. F1 will look like this male right here, right? Because you're not getting the pink, the leucistic. You're not getting that gene in F1. But if you breed F1 to F1, you'll get F2. There's a lot of benefits to F2 that I'll eventually break, but the F2 would throw out about 25 or 1 in 4 fry to be pink. So they would carry this trait that he wanted. He wanted the pink fish with a rounder face. And the cool thing about that is in his F2, if he got 2 pinks that he really liked and he's like, this is exactly what I wanted, the Jack Dempsey and the Veha shouldn't have any fertility issues. And then he could breed the F2 pink to another F2 pink, and F3 would produce 100% F3 pinks. Easy peasy. Or you breed an F2 back to an F1 he really likes, that'll produce 50 pinks. Like, there's a way around a lot of stuff if you're willing to do the work for it. Like, there's a project I'm doing that I want to do long term, and it's so much work because the original formula has flower horn in it, and there's a lot of workarounds, but long term, I would love to produce something like this because I think this fish is freaking stunning. Now, if I'm going to break it down, I'm not the biggest fan that it only has a couple pearls here. Honestly, in my mix, I would like no pearls on the face. I would like a flatter face. I would like fuller fins and a bigger tail. But there's a couple species that I already know right off the bat that I could start using as a base. Like, I could start to use, let's see, a Biffa, right? If I got one of these, I could use this as my base, right? It's not identical, obviously. The goal isn't to produce the exact fish. It's to produce something similar to it. Now, how I would probably go about doing it is I'd probably get some super red sin, breed in it for cock, which would be a super red sin to a Biffa mix, then F1 to F1, and that would produce F2. Groom some of the F2 males out. Look for one with the biggest cock, with the best two-tone coloration to it. Now, obviously, with working with the sin and the Biffa, you're going to end up getting this black marking to still be there. And obviously, there's going to be more stuff about it. There's other species that I would like to hit that I might be able to completely wash that off, So if you have any hybrids that you want to, like, I kind of want to try to recreate this, how should I go about it? I want to break that down. And I'll probably end up opening up some Excel sheets and be like, you could do Jaguar to this thing, and that's going to be this percentages. And then if you do it to this, that's going to be this percentages. And then what does breeding F1 to F1 have advantage versus breeding F1 back to a grandparent? Like, what are the advantages to that? I'd like to break that down. So basically, just kind of wrapping up this video, I really want this YouTube channel to be informative on how the species work together. I wouldn't mind to have a little fun and be some, send me a hybrid photo and we'll try to break it down and see what we can plan and kind of cook up together and be like, hey, this could be a fun long-term project. Or, eventually I'll start showing my projects. I've got a couple. I've only got 7 fish tanks up right now. I'm working on getting a couple more. But I've currently got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairings going and 2 tanks full of fry. So there's definitely stuff to be updated. But as of right now, this is it. This is the beginning of my YouTube channel, and I wouldn't mind if you guys supported me because it's always a little annoying just talking to yourself. So send me some photos on Facebook or Instagram. My Facebook's Jackson Binns. You can usually find me in Hybrid Lovers Worldwide, the Hybrid Den, U.S. Hybrid Breeders. What's another one? Hybrid Discussion USA. Any of those, I'm basically in. And if you tag me or find my account and message me directly, I'll get that. Or you can message me on Instagram with Binns _ creation, BINNS _ creation. And I usually try to check that every couple days or every other day when I'm on it. So, this is just the beginning, and I'm really excited to see kind of how this goes long term. And if I go over a species and in a year later I feel like I need to go over it again, I'm totally going to do that. If I feel like I kind of like did a short video on jaguars or something, I might come back and do a part 2, especially if you guys comment. You're like, I want to know more about XYZ of this species, and I totally will come back and talk about that.